Om Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai, Sachidananda Bhagavan ki jai, Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, Gita Mata ki jai. Jai Ho. Gita, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. Yesterday we saw the sloka 69th. Ya Nisa Sarvabhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sanjami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sa Nisa Pasyato Munehe. Where? In which the ordinary beings awake, that is day for them, they are the man of wisdom sleeps, that means he is not aware of it, he is not concerned with it. He doesn't see all these names and forms as useful and he doesn't care to see it. So it is night for him. And where these ordinary people, they don't see anything, the ultimate truth, it is night for them, and that is complete awareness of the man of wisdom. So that is day for the wise man. In this way, both the people of wisdom and the people of ignorance are opposite to each other. And then Lord Krishna says, Apuriyamana machala pratishtham samudram apaha pravisanti jadvat tadvat kamayam pravisanti sarve sa santim apnoti na kama kami. So he gives the final decision. He attains peace into whom all desires enter as waters enter the ocean, which is filled from all sides. The ocean is already full, and yet all the water enters into it, lose their identities, and the full remains full all the times. If the hundreds of rivers enter into the ocean, do you see the level of water of ocean increases? Nothing happens. It remains full. So that is the limit of greatness. Greatness remains always great without having any more greatness. Greatness is great all the time. You do whatever you like. The completeness is always complete. So there is no addition, no deduction to completeness. Similarly, the ocean, and similarly the man of wisdom, established wisdom, to him all the desires enter and they disappear. They disappear having any influence over it. Just as the rivers lose their entity when they merge in the ocean. Tadvat kamayam pravisanti sarve. All the desires, when they enter into the established mind of a man of wisdom, and then that person attains the highest peace. Peace means equilibrium. But not the man with desires, because he always feels lacking something and he always feels haphazard and incomplete within himself. So desires make you incomplete. Desirelessness is the state of completeness. Just as the ocean filled with waters from all sides remains unmoved, so also the sage who is resting in his own swarup or the self is not a bit affected through desires of all sorts of enter from all sides. If all the desires enter into his mind ocean, the mind is never perturbed. That means desires lose their entity and all their effects. The sage attains peace or liberation, but not he who longs for objects of senses and who wants enjoyment and entertains various desires. He will never get peace. Vihaya kaman jaha sarvan pumam charati nispruha nirmamo nirahankaraha sasantim adhigachati. Again he, Lord Krishna emphasizes upon the same point, ascertains it, confirms it by repeating the same thing again. That man attains peace who, abandoning all desires, moves about without longing for any sense objects, or who has no I and no mine, and without egoism also. See, the points he is pointing out, one is no I, means no aham, I, ego is not there. Whatever is being done, all the actions and whatever reactions are due to those actions, everything, the doer and enjoyer, it is attributed to the nature, not to the person. He has no ego of doership. So now, such a person who has no desires at all, how can he have ego? He will not enjoy also any result of his actions. So he will have no longing for the sense objects, and he will have no I, no my, and he will have no ego. Three things to be abandoned. Then the state remains after this is known as state of absolute peace or the absolute reality. That man who lives destitute of longing, abandoning all desires, without the sense of I and mine, who is satisfied with the bare necessities of the life, who does not care even for those bare necessities, who does not care and no attachment even for the bare necessities of life, attains moksha or eternal peace. What happens to such a man? He gave the example of ocean and the rivers, and he gives the example of a man without I, mine and ego. And in this state, he will have no desires. So that egoless identity, how it will be? It will be just neutral to everything, anything and everything. So naturally, neither he will be attracted by anything, nor he will repulse to anything. So naturally, there will be a state of equilibrium, that is a neutral state. And such a person can live at present without depending upon past and future, and he can live at present. That present constitutes everything. That is real life, and as such, he cannot invite anything, he cannot reject anything. He will live the life in a neutral attitude. He will have impartial mood for good and bad things. There is no good and bad, because he doesn't depend upon past and future. So he will have no desires also. Such a person, in such state, naturally he is beyond time. Naturally he attains a state which is beyond time, space, conditions, situations. Nothing can affect him. See, all the time he will be in a eternal kingdom of peace. Nothing can disturb him. And I was telling you the state of a wandering monk. Such wandering monks live in such state. They have no future, they have no past, they are not attached to the past, nor they can plan. They cannot plan. There is no way of planning because future is unknown. Whatever comes by the way, they have to adjust with it. And that's how the monks, they go out for such a life for some time to enjoy impartiality of mind, and that means indifference towards everything, and thereby one is bound to have a balanced mind. Mind is bound to be balanced because it cannot think of past. There is no past, it is gone. If we stick to one place, then the past of that place will affect you. And then you will plan for the future. If there is no place, every moment the place is changing. So naturally, there will not have any dependency on past nor future, and naturally one has to adjust with whatever comes by the way, and he becomes habituated to live at present. He becomes forcibly habituated to live at present. He cannot. So thereby a type of attitude is developed which is always dependent on the absolute truth. Whatever comes, that is by the will of the Almighty. That dependency upon the Lord grows and it strengthens and it gets established. And that is, in other words, surrender to the Absolute. Complete surrender. It is bound to happen. It is not by force, not by practicing. It is by the way, automatically, naturally. And he cannot have any attachment because every day, every moment, everything is changing. So he cannot have attachment to any sense objects, not to any place, not to any time, not to any people around him, because everything is changing every moment. So a state of equal vision, he will see everyone as stranger, that's all. He will see everything as a dream, that's all, because everything is changing. He will not rely upon any object around him. It is going to change. So natural dependency on the absolute truth strengthens and he becomes totally surrendered to the will of Almighty. And there is chance of experiencing how the nature provides all your needs in time, and because you cannot do anything but think of God. You have to depend upon, you are bound to depend upon the will of God. Whatever comes, you have to accept it. So naturally, the nature has to take care of you. This is what Lord says again and again. One who thinks of me continuously, depends upon me, comes to me, he overcomes my maya, my illusory power, that is attachment to the sense objects, and relying upon them, that vanishes automatically. And then I take care of him, I take care of his needs through the nature, and I protect his belongings, whatever he has. That means body or bare needs of the body, say few piece of cloth, and what else? Maybe a stick, walking stick, maybe a bowel, baking bowel. What else he will have? He cannot carry so much, so he cannot have anything more than this. He cannot have surplus accumulations of his needs. He cannot. When I was wondering like that, I had only one pair of cloth. I will have the langot with me, and then I will wash the cloth and dry it, When that is dried up, I will wash my langot and carry it with me. It will dry up. By the way, because more I cannot carry, I don't want to carry all this burden. And at that time I had no blanket also to spread down, nothing. I used to collect the leaves or grass, dried grass, and spread and make a beautiful soft Dunlop bedding. And wherever I get sand, array, that is most wonderful, sandy bed.
Quiet home.
Yes. So in this way, a wandering monk enjoys the life. Parivrajak, aimless wanderer. There is no target to reach. Wherever night falls, just lie down. The sky is the roof. That is the highest enjoyment one can enjoy in life. Having nothing, caring for nothing, worrying for nothing, no obligations, no worries. No responsibilities. So now he says, Lord Krishna says, Esa Brahmi Siddhi Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati. One attaining such a state, he will never be bewildered, deluded by the force of desires or maya or the attractions towards the sense objects. Nothing can have any influence over him. Esa brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuhyati sthitva sya antakalepi brahma nirvanam nichchati. This is the Brahmic seat, eternal state. O son of Pritha, attaining to this, none is deluded. Being established therein, even at the end of life, one attains to oneness with Brahman, Kaivalya Mukti, Nirvana. Nirvana means complete annihilation, destruction of the desires, mind, ego, everything. The state described in the previous verses to renounce everything and to live in Brahman is the Brahmic state or the state of Brahman. If one attains to this state, one is never deluded. He attains moksha, liberation. If he stays in the state, even at the hour of his death, it is needless to say that he who gets established in Brahman throughout his life attains to the state of Brahman or Brahman Nirvanam. Brahman Nirvanam. Brahman Nirvanam Nichchati. He will end all the desires and he becomes one with the absolute truth, oneness. Mercy, Vidyaranya says in his Panchadasi that Antakal here means the moment at which avidya or mutual superposition of the self and the non-self ends. Brahman nirvanam richati. This end of desires cause another end also, naturally. What is that end? The end of all the mistakes. That means दिल गलती कर बैठा है, गलती कर बैठा है दिल. The mind has made a mistake in the very beginning. And now what will happen? गलती कर बैठा है दिल. That mistake is, initial mistake is to think I am the body. So this is called abhinivesh. That means wrong assumption, wrong acceptance of the body as I. So this mistake will end forever. That means in the end of life, when the body dies or disappears, it decomposes. At that time what happens? This body idea also never goes with it doesn't cling to the soul. So the soul remains unattached to this body, and thereby he will not get another body anymore. So this mistake ends there. And ego also cannot run restlessly, because ego is due to mind, fourfold mind, and we can say threefold mind, because ego is dominating now. The ego with a threefold mind, chitta, intellect and mind, it will not raise its head again. It depends upon the I-ness with the body. Then only mind plays havoc by the senses and having all the desires, attachments, and then it dances like a mad dog. So now there is no body on what it will dance. Lord Krishna danced on the hoods of the snake, Kaliya. But now there is no hoods here. All these hoods are senses, mind and intellect and prana, and they have those wavering teeth, tongues, and they will have also poison. Poison is attachment, and these are the different foods. And Lord Krishna, the Supreme, dance over this. And now this body snake, it will be crushed into nothing once for all, forever and ever. It will not raise its head. कालिया दलन हो जाएगा. So what happens? The avidya also. Avidya, ignorance or delusion. It will end. It plays havoc only because of the body and senses. If this dies once, it will never appear again. So at the time of death, our soul goes nowhere. It disappears in the absolute self. Just as the sky of the empty pot remains as it is, forever being unattached, being unmoved, being uninfluenced, it remains as it is. It becomes one with the absolute sky, sky of consciousness. Thus ends this chapter. Om Tatsat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Sambade Sankhya Yoga Nama Dvityodhyaya. Thus in the Upanishads of the glorious Bhagavad Gita, the science of the eternal, science of the eternal, the song, eternal song, Bhagavad Gita, Gita means the song, sung by the Absolute. The science of the eternal, the scripture of yoga, Gita means the science of renunciation. Everything in every stanza will get something to be renounced, and thereby after all renouncement, remnants remains as the truth. So this is called Gita, means it is a scripture of yoga. Everywhere yoga, the union of the individual self with the absolute, is explained in this. And this particular chapter, second chapter, is known as Sankhya Yoga. This is completely the wisdom of the self is explained here. The steadiness of mind, the state of man of wisdom, and where, just like ocean, nothing can influence it, nothing can have any growth or decay of this wisdom. It is eternal science. Eternal science. This is called Sankhya Yoga. The dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the second discourse entitled the Sankhya Yoga. Why it is named as Sankhya Yoga? Because in this chapter we have discussed only on the knowledge, the eternal knowledge. So it is the eternal science of the self. How that state of the absolute truth is. And then we shall start the third chapter. It is named as Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, yoga of action. Why? After knowledge, does anybody plunges into action, doing something? No. The action is forbidden here. In the second chapter, don't do anything. Have equanimity of mind, isn't it? And yet, Lord Krishna encourages Arjuna to fight the battle. What is the secret in it? How he can support himself. He says, do nothing. And at the same time he says, fight out the battle, having no desires of the fruits of the actions. Then this is the crucial point we have to understand. Doing nothing, you have to do everything, and doing everything, you have to do nothing. How it is possible, how action becomes non-action, and non-action becomes action. This is the secret of yoga. You have to do everything in a yogic process, means with the skill of action, so that you will not be bound to the result of the actions, nor the result can influence you, nor you can have attachment with the sense subjects. You cannot be influenced by it. How? Doing everything you will be the non-doer, non-enjoyer. And then also we have to understand, having a body and the senses, if the prana works, then body has to move, senses have to activate. So how it will go on? That also. How the senses will work and who will make them work, and what is the process of working will be. All these we shall see in this chapter, bit by bit, analytically and logically and practically, and that's how, because the body is there, prana is there, and you see the senses are there, the impressions are there, the mind will stop, but impressions are there. What about that? It should be destroyed completely. And all these points we shall discuss in this chapter vividly, analytically, logically, with all the examples. This chapter is most important for the ordinary worldly beings, and how they can lead the life in this world, being unattached to the world. All these tricks we shall discuss here. He has also given us the hints beforehand in the second chapter. Padmam patram ivambhasa. Just as the leaf of the lotus leaf in the water. It is grown in the water, it lives its life in water and dies in water. It always remains in water, but yet water never touches it. It is ever unattached to the water, the lotus leaf. So in that way, how a person living in this world of all these problems and miseries and all these persuasions, everywhere mind runs to see and enjoy it. How it can be, it can have a successful, happy, unattached life and enjoy eternal bliss in this world, that we shall see here. So this chapter is very important, very important. Of course, the second chapter was given in the beginning of Gita because you should have a goal first. Without goal, you cannot start your journey. So this second chapter as the idealism, as the goal of life, one should attain that state of Sthita Prajna. It is discussed in the beginning, and then we shall see how to attain it. In Yoga Sutra, what is explained in the beginning? Samadhi path. It never starts with asana pranayama. No. First the goal should be there before you. Idealism should be there. Then only you will target at it. You will have some ideas, some plans, some projects to direct your journey. So the goal should be discussed in the beginning itself, beginning of the journey. So Gita starts with first Vishad Yoga. One should have that state of mind so that he will be indifferent towards the world, and then he will have dispassion, and then he will have a desire to get out of it, and then this is the natural process of mind, and then he should have a target, what to do. This is how second chapter is well placed in Gita as the Sankhya Yoga, the state of wisdom. So tomorrow we shall see further. Third chapter we shall start. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna is too clever to put the questions because he doesn't care for Lord Krishna as supreme being, but he deals with him in different many relationships. He is his friend, he is his brother, he is his teacher, everything. So he is free to ask questions, no hesitation. Now Arjuna asks, my dear, oh sweet speaking, oh lovely person, you deluded my mind. You are a trickster. Now you have explained everything of wisdom, and you have given me the target, that is steadfastness of the mind and samadhi, sthitadhi. Sthitadhi is samadhi. Same thing, the equilibrium of the mental state and not doing anything. You have taught me not to have the desire for the result of the actions also. Everything you have said. I don't know about why you are forcing me to fight out the battle. You are a trickster. Now you have to explain me completely, clearly, why you are asking me to fight this battle. Then Krishna will explain how to fight, why to fight, how to fight, when to fight, what to fight out, who are the enemies, everything he will say. And how to act so that you will not be the actor and you will not enjoy the result of it. All these tricks he will explain, and which is called Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga. Tomorrow we shall see. And he will give the reason why he is forcing him to do. Tomorrow we shall see. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevamasisyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Sachidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Gita Mata ki jai. Hari